Here I am after so many years. I trapped by fear. I'm in a box. I've got no place to go. If I follow my mind, I know I slaughter my own. Help me, I'm the prisoner. Won't you hear my plea? I need somebody, yeah, to listen to me. I beg you, brothers and sisters, I'm counting on you, yeah. Black babies in the womb, shackled and bound, chained by the caveman, keeps beauty down, snacked on the ass when they are squalling and wet. And to us spineless man who never forgets. Peace and love. Welcome again to the NEPPC podcast with my brother and former political prisoner.
Abdul Haq Islam.
My name is Frank Brown and I'm co-host. And first and foremost, we want to ask everybody we want to appreciate your time. It's very important that you spend your time constructively. So spending your time with us is very appreciative. We ask that you share this podcast, this episode, with at least 10 people so they can encourage them to share with 10 others so we can expand. Our YouTube channel is currently at 144 subscribers, so we appreciate all those who subscribe. We want to amplify the idea of our political prisoners and making sure that they don't die in prison. Today is August 31st of 2022. It's the last day of Black August. And so that we do Black August right, we want to focus on its impact on us and how we move forward after we complete this very important day of Black August. One of the things that we want to begin like talking about is the power that we'll have, right? And we have to celebrate all our victories, and we don't celebrate our victories by being comfortable and complacent with that victory, right? Recently, Biden has signed the student relief debt, and what that allows.
20,000.
Excuse me.
For $20,000 of debt, it's got a long way to go. That's a start, yeah.
Right, so it's a start, and what we want to do is we want to applaud that victory, but we don't want to get comfortable, right? We have a revolutionary mind state where all debt should be eliminated and college should be free because education is a human right, just like universal health care is a human right, and we have to understand that the only way we can continue to get more and more of what we want is by remaining active. So this episode, we're gonna focus on being more active, being consistent, and not being complacent with victories that we know that we should have been had, but yet be inspired by the victory. Just like we got Sundiata Acoli home, it took all of us being involved to bring him home. So he's home now. He didn't die in prison.
Welcome home, brother. Welcome home.
Exactly. Welcome home. And we're very appreciative of him being home and the effort and the work that people became involved in. The Curb Fest was very important and was powerful. So we're going to speak on that as well and a number of other things. We want to definitely salute the community of Harlem that came out for the Curb Fest.
And the People's Church.
And the People's Church. Yes, and the People's Church. Yes. So go ahead, elaborate on that, brother.
110th. 110th and what, brother?
It was 111th. On the east side.
On the east side, yeah. They always support the community. The community came out in support of the political prisoners, got information on the political prisoners, the children were out there, a nice big crowd, free food, speaker, Brother Sekou spoke, and other speakers, and this is a milestone event in our efforts to get information about our political prisoners to the masses of our people
because
the enemy doesn't want us to know about our political prisoners. COINTELPRO was a plan that aimed at the freedom struggle of our people, and a main objective of that enmity to our freedom struggle was to lock us up, to lock those up who are foremost among the struggle, those who are most defiant, those who stand up most fearlessly, with the most love of the people, who through activities, constant work, hard work and endeavor, with the values, of love, of never betraying our people, of never looking back, of never getting too tired and weary, of being beat down and beat up and feel hopeless and helpless, these type of spirits, they there's COINTELPRO, targeted these brothers and sisters, and it is very, very important that our people are familiar with these freedom fighters. Freedom fighters are a great asset and great value to every people's struggle. This being August the 31st, this is a very, very significant day because we're on the cusp of going into September. So there's a mixed theme here. Black August, in honor of George and Jonathan Jackson, you understand, and their valiant struggle, you understand, stood up hard against the system, tall, strong, and the type of spirit that our people constantly struggle years after these brothers are gone, and COINTELPRO was a plan by the FBI to destroy the Black freedom struggle, and like I said, George Jackson was targeted and was assassinated, So as we go into September, a lot of our people are thinking about education, So we talk about community control of our education, community having an impact upon our education, and our kids need to know about those who fought for them, those who foremost in principles. Our kids need to know about that. I was at the other day, and everybody was really cheering on and amazed by a little kid who was just learning to walk, and they was clapping and cheering. This kid was learning to walk to the beat of the drums, So they move on from there, become superstars in the ABCs, and carried on into the universities, And so this education is very, very important. So it's important that they know people like Imam Jamil Al-Amin, you understand, who stood up, formerly known as H. Rap Brown, Reverend Joy Powell, you understand, who fought against us murdering one another, who fought against police terrorism, like I said, George Jackson, and others, Brother Mutulu Shakur, a brother who loves our people, a very, very courageous brother, very, very principled brother who I wouldn't say the honor of, but who I was able to spend some time with on lockdown, you understand? A very, very good brother, you understand? Mutulu Shakur, I said Mutulu Shakur, Mumia Abu Jamal, you understand? We're talking about education. There's another brother who excelled in education, and through his skill in education is able to give a concise and informative political analysis of the system. So, we encourage our people to have an impact, to put pressure on a system that the fascists are trying to say that must erase any type of liberating ideas, ideologies, histories. We must rebel against the fascist motives of creating chaos and deficiencies in education. You understand? It is this deficiency in education, our people not knowing who they are, not knowing the great contributions that African people made, that for example, the African Moors bringing the Europeans out of the Dark Ages, you understand, of the African empires that Europeans look to, you understand, for education.
Yes,
these are the type of things that inspire our people.
Absolutely, and brother, and when we talk about being inspired, we don't want to just talk about regurgitating something that's been talked about a number of times, and we take pride in it. We want to use it to be motivated to actually take some type of action. So that's why we're encouraging everybody to reach out to the campaign that's struggling to free our brother and one of the longest held political prisoners in the United States, Ruchell Russell McGee. Right now, it says contact Governor News News today.
Newsom, yeah.
Newsom at 916-445-2841. Press 1 for English or 2 for Spanish. Press 6 to speak with a representative and wait for someone to answer. Call Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call Governor Newsom's office and use this script. So they have a script that you're supposed to use. And so if everybody's saying the same thing, that's going to be very important because we want to bring Ruchell Magee home. Right? So it says, hello, my name is blank, and I'm calling to encourage Governor Gavin Newsom to commute the sentence of prisoner Ruchell Magee, number 892051, number T115, who has served 59 long years in prison. Ruchell is 83 years old, so as an elderly prisoner, he faces health risks every day from still being incarcerated for so long. In the interest of justice, I am joining the global call for Ruchell's release due to the length of his confinement, and I urge Governor Newsom to take immediate action to commute Ruchell Magee's sentence. So we're calling on anybody who's viewing this to share this episode and that campaign and that script to as many people as possible, and let them know that we all can have an impact on our brother being home and not dying in prison. So I just, sorry to interrupt you, brother, but I just had to make sure that I get that out there because far too often we can just talk about our strong history of who we were and what we did and what we overcome, but we don't always let that translate to what's going on now and how we need to actually take some action and not just be somewhere taking pride in something and we don't use we don't have no motion behind it. So this is something that we have to use to motivate us to do something because we know who he was and we know who we are and we know who we're going to be, and all that has to be put into practice.
And so let's take that legacy of getting things done and making things happen, you understand, to free this brother, the brother talked about the people's collective struggle. The people say that the life of Mumia Abu Jamal, you understand, Sundiata is home, so people have to understand that the power of the people can be very, very effective, when organized, you understand, and energized and being very, very inspired, you understand, with a belief in what we can do, just like Brother Frank mentioned a few minutes ago, the relief of some of the student debt, that became because of the pressure from the people, So we're saying that just like Brother Frank said, it's not just a feel good session to talk about what we did thousands of years ago, but to take that information, you understand, and make us true believers of
Absolutely.
What we can do today.
Absolutely, remain inspired. At this moment, I want to take time to talk about the definition or of a political prisoner, because that's what thing that we could not ignore. So, brother, in your own words, how would you define a political prisoner?
A political prisoner is a person because of his activity, you understand, going against an enemy, you understand, whose relationship to the people is oppression and exploitation, violent oppression, you understand, to exploit the people economically, and because of that, which is politics, that a political relationship, because of his activity in that realm, he is targeted by the state and either set up for execution or incarceration.
Great, brother.
That's political prison.
Yes. And right now I just want to read something that was put out at the Curb Fest, because the Curb Fest, when we were in Harlem and we secured that street, this was what was printed right on one of the boards that had a political prisoner on it. And it says, political prisoners are people jailed on charges related to their resistance to oppression and repression and targeted by the state for their political beliefs and or actions. And I think that we have to continue to let that idea of about a political prisoner continue to circulate, because because of the social conditions. There are a number of people who are in prison because of that, because they respond to it. But when we talk about political prisoner, we're talking about somebody who's conscious of what's going on and just doesn't want to observe what's going on currently, but actually wants to do something and organize people to do something, because to just see something that's incorrect and not do anything about it, you become part of a problem. And they want to be a part of the solution. So it says in this book right here, it's called Prison Lives Matter, Journal in the Spirit of Nelson Mandela. It's a number of pieces that they give on political prisoners. But I think that it's very important that we have a continuous study and analysis of a political prisoner, and always making the sharpest definition possible of a political prisoner, because that's how we educate ourselves more. So it says for us, the political prisoner is one who has made and who acts on a conscious political decision to change the present state of property relations. Also said political prisoners are those arrested, framed, and otherwise in prison because of relatively peaceful political activity against the oppressive conditions of the people. Political prisoners are also captured colonials inside the walls who have adopted a revolutionary mentality and become politically active. So I think that that's very important, because when we see our brother Mumia Abu-Jamal currently incarcerated, we know prior to his incarceration he was a journalist, and he continued to be a journalist after his incarceration, because he understood that he made a lifetime commitment to addressing injustices and not simply watching what's going on, but he knows he had to be responsible for the change that he wants, because change don't fall out the sky. It's organized, it's fought for, and it's fought for short term and long term. So, brother, in that understanding of a political prisoner that you laid out and that we continue to lay out, how can people utilize that in their education? Because you're saying school's coming, right?
Yeah, to impart that to the youth, you understand? Educators, right now are being threatened by being fired, and they're withholding for funds, by these fascists, So we have to fight, against that, and the enemy is so dumb that they let us know, what to do by what they don't want us to do. So when they don't want us to have this education, this history that is full of power, you understand, and love for our people. When they don't want us to have that, that tells us that's exactly what we should do. Our political prisoners example a paradigm that is different from the old model, the old paradigm, the old model, you understand, cutthroat, dog eat dog, you understand, doing anything to your brother, against your brother and sister, it's a paradigm of brotherhood and sisterhood, it is necessary today, taking care of one another, coming together collectively, with a black love movement, a movement of love among our people, you understand, for us to be the creators of our own culture and prepare our students, you understand, who are now, you understand, getting ready to get back into them books, for them to be prepared to take leadership in creating culture, in organizing the community, for them to be prepared, we're calling on a new youth leadership to step forward, we're calling on our young geniuses, the creative skills that our people here have, you understand, the in our youth, in our people, to bring this forward, to share these diamonds and gold that is in our people, you understand, to plan our future, and to make a brighter future for us, you understand, the saying, to be masters of our own destiny, which the fascists don't want. The fascists want to be the masters of our future, you understand? So we fighting against this. We rumbling against this, you understand? And this has to be part of the education, you understand? And it has to be pronounced over and over and over again. Like I say, September is tomorrow, and our students need to know about our political prisoners, those who are foremost in those values, foremost in those principles,
Yes.
you understand, and produce a strong black nation, a strong future black nation, a strong future black leadership for the black nation coming out of our students.
Absolutely.
Starting tomorrow in September.
Absolutely. And in order for us to do what we need to do, we have to engage with one another. We have to go beyond social media. We have to use that to be informed and stay in contact with what's going on and stay current. But we have to engage. And this what leads me right now to what's going on. It's going to be a vegan fest by Transform America. That's Sugar Ray and brother Miles Hollywood Casio, and those good brothers out in Queensbridge who've been doing some remarkable work. So we encourage everybody to be out there. That's in Queensbridge. That's this Saturday from the hours of 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. They're going to have games. They're going to have some very important information about meditation, dealing with your mental health, as well as free food. So come on out, be a part of what's going on in Queensbridge. That's going to be this Saturday, and check them out, because it's very important that we come out there to be a part of what they're doing. And we'll be out there too, talking about political prisoners as we engage with people who are uninformed about political prisoners. But those brothers been doing some great work, and they always gave us a platform to speak on. So it's going to be food out there. It's going to be games. It's going to be so many other things going on. And I think that's very important and powerful that we partake in that. So it's a vegan festival that's going to be this Saturday at 12 o'clock starting to 8 p.m. So please share with as many people as possible. Let people know about what's happening, and stay informed and stay active and continue to do what's right in your people's interests. So, brother, you were speaking on organizing. You were speaking on making sure that we continue to fight to free our political prisoners, and we have to be inspired by them to learn more about what's correct and what's incorrect, right? A political prisoner knows that there's something incorrect and decides that they have to do something about it. So, brother, as we engage the community, or when you're in the community and when you have the opportunity to talk to somebody about a political prisoner, what do you think is the most important thing that you have to remind a person of when they talk about political prisoners?
Well, that supporting our political prisoners is very, very fundamental in our freedom struggle. We live in a very, very racist society. One of the things that they don't want us to study is the intense and barbaric, savage, subhuman type of racism that we've gone through. And we're living in the middle of it right now. We're living in fascism right now. Today is August 31st. In today's news, you understand, it is said that if Donald Trump is persecuted, that these fools out here, these lunatics out here, are planning violence. And guess who that violence is going to be directed at? So that means we got to be strong. We got to have strong ideas. We got to organize. You understand? For self-preservation. Fascism is on the rise in America. It's going to rise up more and more and more, which means we got to resist. Which means that the ideas and the work of our political prisoners has to continue. Our freedom struggle. A lot of us know we've had a long freedom struggle in America, and very, very fundamental and important to that freedom struggle is to fight for our freedom fighters. All over the world, people recognize their freedom fighters. Freedom fighters are like blood in our veins, are like oxygen for us, because they were there for us when we needed them the most. You understand? In the most violent situations. the most violent periods of time. We've had people who stood up heroically, and Black August is a time when we remember all these things, that we don't think that we just some weak, impotent people, you understand, that they kick around like little puppy dogs and do what they want them to do and stomp our guts out anytime they feel like it, go in our pockets, give your money, punk, give me your lunch money, and we're going to be dead like that. No, we're going to stand up. We're going to be strong. We're going to fight back. We're going to be men and women. So, you understand, the struggle to free our political prisoners is part of the fight, to fight back against this oppression, against this fascism.
Absolutely.
Stand up, Black Power.
Black Power. Indeed, we have a responsibility to ourselves and to our community and to our nation to fight for our political prisoners. And that's why we say do not let our political prisoners die in prison. And we have to struggle to bring them home. So we touched on everything. Brother, there's anything you have to say? Any last remarks before we close out?
I think we covered on about everything, brother.
All right.
Just how beautiful it is when we see people who spent 30, 40, 50 years in jail, yes, and we see them on the street.
And being unbroken.
And right? Being unbroken, that's it. Unbroken,
Be unbroken.
Because, the slave master wants to break your spirit, you understand?
Yes.
Wants to break you down, to make you a punk, to punk us out, to make you a coward. You understand? Right. And that's disgusting, So we see our brothers who did all this time, unbroken, still fighting, yes, got that fire in them, you understand? Yes, got that spirit, that volcano inside, that keeps them going, you understand? That powerful motor inside, you understand? That keeps them moving, keeps them working, you understand? We love that, you understand? And we fight for that, and we believe in that, and all power to the people, Black Power.
All power to the people, Black Power. Continue to strike hard for what you want and continue to organize and be consistent. So we're going to sound off the way we always do when we come through with our podcast episode.
Killer Mike.
Killer Mike.
Killer Mike.
Fun to set aside to help people who sacrifice for our freedom. Meaning, every time something happens, I hear this. Why don't the gangbangers jump up and do something for us? Why don't you kill them? You kill each other. And I say to myself, when is the last time you sent money to Assata Shakur? When is the last time you sent money to Mutulu Shakur? When is the last time you sent money to Mumia Abu-Jamal or Larry Hoover or Jeff Ford or Leonard Peltier? When is the last time you have made it your business to send money to a revolutionary or a hoodlum that has helped us? And until we start to do that, how can we ask these young men to be warriors? Because if they do it in the name of the hood, at least the hood gonna honor their name always. At least the hood gonna make sure at least their children got something or their mama's house is looked after. As a community, if we're going to ask people to bungee jump for us with no cord, be prepared to take care of them when they get a life sentence. Be prepared to look after their families. See, I don't mind the work getting done, but let's take care of the workers. Let's stop asking more out of people than we would do for ourselves. So what I'd like to see, my dream thing, is to see 1 million people from the culture dedicate $10 a month. That's $10 million a month, $120 million a year toward taking care of civil rights leaders who have worked on our behalf and are elderly now and don't have to take care of themselves, like Rosa Parks, whose rent was paid by the owner of Little Caesars Pizza. We should have had a fund to make sure that she never had to worry about that again in her life. We should have a fund that makes sure money makes it to Assata Shakur, and Mutulu Shakur has legal representation and food, and Leonard Peltier, who has diabetes in jail, can get insulin and taken care of. And until we start doing it, $10 a month is about what you pay on a couple fast food restaurant visits. So if 1 million of us do that for the rest of our life, look at how well we'll be taking care of the people that we're asking to sacrifice on our behalf.
I agree. And recently